Hi everyone, this is Susan with the Rhinestone World. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create wall art like this using Siser Easy Weed Mint Glitter HTV layered on top of Easy Weed White using a simple offset in Silhouette Studio. Let's go. So I'm here in Silhouette Studio and this is version 4. For this project, I'm working with a design that is pretty wide, so I know that I want my design page set up to be larger. I'm going to go ahead and make this 24 inches. And I'm also not going to be cutting with a mat, so I'm going to change that setting. And I have 2 words that I need to put in here. So I'm going to type in my first word and my second word. I know I want that to be lowercase. I'm going to select them both and come over here to the fill panel, and I'm going to go ahead and make those mint green since I'm using Siser Easy Weed Mint Green glitter for this. And I know that the font I want here is Times New Roman, and I know that the font I want up here is Callista. I just don't really like the way that this looks. So I want to try to play with this a little bit, and one of the things that I could do is make it lowercase, but when I make it lowercase I feel like the C is smaller than the rest of the word. So I'm going to try something else. I'm going to make a duplicate of this. I held down Alt key with my left mouse to make an exact copy, and I'm going to isolate just the C and make it bigger and see if I can weld that into the rest of the design. So I'm going to make this really large, and I'm going to get rid of the C up here and make this a little smaller. And you can see my cut lines overlapping there, so I need to make sure that I weld this. If I place this in here just right, I might have a pretty good line. And I'm going to just zoom in on this so that we can see it a little better. That looks pretty good. I'm going to move this just a tiny bit. So that should be a little better. Let me zoom in on that again. That looks better. So now if I select all of this and right click and weld, now you can see none of my cut lines are overlapping. That looks great. And I just want to change the size of this word, make it a little bigger. Actually, that's too big. And the only other thing I noticed about this is I don't like the spacing of this word. I feel like the Y is way over here by itself. So I'm going to change the character spacing just a little. I think that's better. I'm going to put this right up next to it because this is going to be, I'm going to have an offset, and then I'm going to press that, and then I'm going to press the glitter HTV on top of it, which is going to be the words. So I'm going to select my whole design and do an offset. It defaults to that 0.125, and I think that's really perfect. So I'm going to change the color just so that I can see it. It's actually going to cut in white, but I'll just make it a color that will show up on this page. Alright, that looks good, and the only other thing I want to do is make it a little larger. So I'm going to pull this out, fit it right up in here. I want to get this a little closer to 16 inches long. And I did not make it a compound path because I don't want to cut those letters out of the background. I want to go ahead and have one big offset that I'm going to press first, and then I'm going to press the glitter words on top of it. Okay, I think that looks good. So I'm going to go over to the send panel and I need to, first of all, doing Control A and selecting everything, I'm going to flip it, and now when I'm here in the Send panel, I can cut by color. If I go over to Cut by Fill, I'm first going to cut the offset. So I've just selected that, and you can see my cut lines here. So I actually need to go over and move these out of the cutting area. So I'm going to move my words over, and while I have them together, I'm going to group them. I'm going to move it out of the cut space, and that way I can just cut the offset. So everything looks good. I just need to select my material. So this is going to be Siser Easy Weed, and my settings look right, but I always want to do a test cut first. So I'm going to get my Cameo ready, and I'm going to do a test cut. Alright, I'm going to take a look at my test cut. See how that looks. Looks perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and load my material back in. And one of the things I want to do here is run it through and make sure that it doesn't shift. And that I have it in here straight. So I'm going to go ahead and roll this all the way through since I'm cutting without a mat. And that looks pretty good. So I'm ready to cut. Alright, my test cut looks good, so I'm going to go ahead and send this to my Cameo. Okay, that has finished cutting, and I'm going to load in my next color, which is the Mint Glitter. And I'm going to load this with the shiny side down. And I can see that my cut is not perfectly straight across. So I'm, again, going to be just careful that I have this loaded straight. And that's a little bit, looks like that might be a little bit crooked. So I'm going to adjust this just a little. And I'm going to run this through to see how it goes through. Let's see, this is a little crooked over here. As long as my roller stays on the vinyl, I think I'm okay. Yeah, that looks good. Alright, so I've cut my background, and now I want to move this out of the way, and I'm going to cut the words now. So I'm going to select these and bring them over. Make sure I have them in my cutting space. And I'm just going to do a test cut first. So let's take a look. I've got my glitter HTV, and that's much higher thickness and blade depth, so that looks good. But I'm going to do a test cut first. Oh, not double pass, just just a test cut. So my test cut looked good for my mint glitter, and I'm ready to go ahead and cut this. Okay, it's finished cutting. I'm going to weed both of these, and then we can press them onto our canvas. Okay, I'm here ready to weed my vinyl, and I'm going to get started on that. Okay, I finished weeding and it's time to go over to the heat press. Okay, I'm over here at the heat press. I have it set on 315 because the Easy Weed offset is should be about 305 and the glitter HTV should be 320, so I put it right in between. And you can see what I have here. I've used some of our magic heat tape to keep it in place, and I had marked this all off so that I know the center of my fabric. So what's really nice about this is a pretty busy fabric, but I'm going to use the offset to really make it pop so it doesn't get lost in the design. So this is larger than my Max Clam heat press, which is 15 by 15, and my design is closer to 16 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and press this first layer, but just for a couple seconds to tack it in place. And then I'm going to move my design over so that I can get the rest of it in here. And I'm going to press that for a couple more seconds because all I want to do is get it to attach to the fabric, because then I'm going to layer my next HTV on there, which is the mint glitter. And yeah, this looks good. So I can go ahead and peel this, and the great thing about this heat tape is you can even reuse it. So if this is good, looks good, I'm going to put my next layer on top here. And I'm also going to use heat tape again just to hold it in place. So I'm going to reuse these pieces. And this magic heat tape is also available on our website at therhinestoneworld.com. And it is really nice to use to keep things in place. It's great when you're just worried that something might shift just a little bit. So I'd rather use this generously to make sure that I've got a good press than to waste vinyl. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to press this twice to make sure I get all of it, but first I want to make sure I have this lined up perfectly. All right, I'm ready to press the second layer, the glitter, and I'm going to press a little longer. So I still have my temperature set at 315. And I'm not going to give this a full 15 seconds. I'm probably going to do closer to 10. And I'm going to move it over to get the rest of it. And this is a hot peel, so I can take off my carrier sheet. And now I'm going to attach it to my framed canvas, and see how it looks. So here's my finished project. I attached my fabric to the wooden frame and I just used a stapler. It was pretty soft wood, but you can also use a staple gun. And I think it looks great. I'll be able to hang a little pennant banner from it. So this was a cute project. If you like this video, please click like below and be sure to subscribe here to the Rhinestone World so you don't miss anything. And please call us or email us if you have any questions. Our phone number is 941-755-1696, or you can email us at info@therhinestoneworld.com. Thanks for watching.